Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting topics for coin collectors and treasure hunters. We'll break down what makes these coins so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny with an S mint mark is one of the most distinctive and fascinating coins ever struck by the United States Mint. Produced at the San Francisco Mint, this coin stands out immediately because it was made of steel rather than the usual copper used for Lincoln wheat pennies. This one-year-only change in composition makes the 1943 steel cent one of the most talked-about coins among collectors and history enthusiasts alike. Even though it's common in lower grades, it holds deep historical significance as a product of World War II, a time when every resource, even copper, was redirected to support America's military efforts. During World War II, copper was a critical war material used in producing ammunition, shell casings, and electrical wiring. To conserve this essential metal, the U.S. Mint temporarily changed the penny's composition in 1943 from the standard 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc to a zinc-coated steel planchet. This made the coins appear silver or grayish in color, unlike any other U.S. cent before or since. However, this change was short-lived, as the steel cents quickly proved problematic. They rusted easily, stuck to magnets, and were often mistaken for dimes. By 1944, the Mint returned to using copper alloy again, this time from recycled wartime shell casings. The obverse of the 1943 S. Lincoln steel penny features President Abraham Lincoln's classic portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Above Lincoln's head are the words, "In God we trust." To the left is "Liberty," and to the right is the date, 1943, with the small S mint mark beneath it, indicating that it was struck at the San Francisco Mint. The reverse design features two stylized wheat ears framing the denomination 1 cent and United States of America. At the top appears the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many. Your coin is described as being in dirty condition with some scratches, which is common for steel pennies. Over time, the thin zinc coating on these coins can wear off, exposing the steel underneath to air and moisture. When this happens, the steel begins to oxidize or rust, giving the coin a dull gray or even blackish appearance. Dirt, corrosion, and scratches from circulation are also typical signs of age and handling. In this condition, while the main design is still visible, fine details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and the wheat stalks may be worn or faint. The 1943 S. Lincoln steel penny had a total mintage of about 191,550,000 coins, making it one of the more plentiful mintages from that year. While all 1943 steel cents are historically important, they are not considered rare in circulated condition because so many were produced and saved by the public. In fact, many people held on to these unusual silver-looking pennies as keepsakes after the war, ensuring that millions still exist today. In today's collector market, a 1943 S. Lincoln steel penny in dirty, scratched, and circulated condition generally sells for around 0.10 to 0.25. Coins in very fine or extremely fine condition may be valued between 0.30 and 0.75, and uncirculated examples with full original luster can sell for $2 to $5. Brilliant! Mint state specimens certified by PCGS or NGC can reach $10 to $30 or more, especially those that have retained their original bright zinc coating with no signs of rust or spotting. Since your coin is in well-worn and dirty condition, its fair market value today would realistically be around 10 to 15 cents. While this coin's financial value is modest, its historical importance cannot be overstated. It tells a story of sacrifice and innovation during one of the most difficult periods in modern history. Every 1943 steel penny represents a moment when ordinary Americans were asked to adapt for the greater good, when even small changes, like conserving copper for bullets, symbolized unity and determination. The steel penny was a creative solution to a national challenge, and holding one today connects you directly to that remarkable chapter in America's past. Collectors also find the 1943 series interesting because of the rare minting errors associated with it. The most famous of these is the 1943 copper penny, which was accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets from 1942. These rare mistakes are worth tens of thousands of dollars, with some examples selling for more than $100,000 at auction. Conversely, a few 1944 steel cents were also struck in error and are equally valuable. While your coin is a standard 1943 steel cent, it's always wise to examine it closely or have it tested with a magnet. Genuine steel cents are magnetic, while the rare copper ones are not. The scratches and darkened color on your coin are signs of its long journey through history. Rather than detracting from its worth, they give it character and authenticity. It's best not to clean the coin, as cleaning can remove the remaining zinc coating and expose more of the steel beneath, causing faster rusting. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and store it in a dry, airtight container or protective sleeve. Keeping it away from humidity will help prevent further corrosion. The 1981 USA Washington quarter dollar with the D Mint mark is a piece of American history minted at the Denver Mint. Many people often refer to these as silver quarters because of their silvery color. But in reality, the 1981 Washington quarter is not made of silver. Like all regular quarters produced after 1964, it is composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, a copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of nickel. This gives the coin its silvery appearance while keeping production costs low. The true silver Washington quarters were last minted for circulation in 1964, and after that, all standard quarters were made with this copper-nickel composition. The 1981 D quarter weighs around 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. On the obverse side, the coin features the famous portrait of George Washington facing left, designed by John Flanagan in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth. The word liberty arches across the top. In God We Trust is inscribed to the left of Washington's profile, and the year 1981 appears at the bottom. Just beside the ribbon in Washington's hair, you can see the small letter D indicating that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The reverse side features an eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Below the eagle is an olive branch, a symbol of peace. Around the top of the coin are the words United States of America, with E pluribus unum just above the eagle's head, and the denomination quarter dollar written at the bottom. Your coin is described as being in black color shade, dirty condition, and with some scratches. This blackish tone can appear over time due to oxidation, environmental exposure, or contact with certain materials that cause the metal to darken. It's a natural result of aging and circulation. Since your coin is in dirty and scratched condition, it likely spent many years in everyday use, exchanging hands in markets, stores, and pockets, giving it that well-worn appearance that tells part of its story. From a collector's point of view, condition plays a major role in determining value. Coins in poor or circulated condition with visible wear, scratches, and dirt generally have little premium over their face value. Because over 500 million 1981 D Washington quarters were minted, they are considered quite common. In today's market, a 1981 D quarter in circulated condition like yours typically sells for around 0.25 to $1. The scratches and dark discoloration further reduce collector interest, as most collectors prefer coins with bright, original luster and minimal damage. However, Certain examples from this year can be valuable if they have minting errors. Some known 1981 D quarters exhibit off-center strikes, double-die obverses, or clipped planchets. These are rare, but they can increase the value dramatically depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. Such error coins can range from $50 to over $500, and some unusual or dramatic ones have fetched even higher prices at coin auctions. Therefore, it's always worth taking a closer look at your coin under good lighting, or with a magnifying glass to see if there are any unusual features. For normal 1981 D quarters, condition is the key to higher value. Coins that have never been circulated, known as mint state, can be worth a few dollars, typically between $3 and $10 depending on grade. High-end examples graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC as MS67 or higher can reach prices over $200. Though such coins are very rare and must have sharp detail, full luster, and absolutely no marks or discoloration. In your case, because the coin is described as dirty and black-toned, it likely falls into the lower circulated grade range. If you were to clean the coin, be very cautious. Professional collectors usually advise not to clean coins, as cleaning can scratch the surface or remove the original patina, which can actually reduce value further. If you want to gently improve its appearance for personal display, you can carefully rinse it with mild soap and warm water. Then pat it dry with a soft cloth, but never scrub or polish it. In the auction or collector market, a coin like yours would generally sell for its face value of 25 cents, or slightly more if a collector wants it for completion of a date and mint set. Some casual collectors or beginners who are putting together full Washington quarter collections from 1932 to 1998 might pay around 0.50 to $1 for a circulated example, just to fill the 1981 D slot. Although not valuable in monetary terms, your coin still holds historical importance as part of America's circulating coinage of the early 1980s. It represents a period when the United States Mint had fully transitioned to the copper-nickel-clad composition and was producing coins in large quantities to meet nationwide demand. The 1981 D quarter also marks one of the final years before the Mint began major design changes with the 50 state quarters program that started in 1999. Next up, the 1956 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a charming and historical piece of mid-20th century American coinage. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin represents one of the final years of the beloved wheat penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. While the 1956 penny is not particularly rare, it remains a beautiful example of the craftsmanship and heritage that define U.S. coinage, and a small but meaningful piece of American history. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighs about 3.11 grams, and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. It has a plain edge and was originally struck with a bright reddish-orange color that, over time, typically darkens to shades of brown or red-brown as the copper reacts with air and oils from handling. Your coin is described as being in good condition with some scratches, meaning it has circulated for many years and shows noticeable wear. In this condition, Lincoln's face, hair, and coat are smooth and flat, with many of the finer details lost. The lettering and date remain legible, but the overall surface may appear dull, and scratches are visible from handling or storage. On the reverse, the wheat stalks will be faint, but still recognizable, and the coin's color might show darker tones from oxidation and age. The Philadelphia Mint produced a very large number of these coins, over 420 million in total, making the 1956 no-mint-mark wheat penny one of the more common issues of the series. Because of this high mintage, Most circulated examples like yours do not carry significant monetary value, though they remain popular among collectors for their history and design. In today's collector market, a 1956 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in good circulated condition with scratches generally sells for 0.05 to 0.2 $10. In fine to very fine condition, its value may rise to 0.15 to 0.25, and in extremely fine condition, it could bring 0.30 to $0.50. Uncirculated examples with bright original luster, especially those with a full red copper tone, can sell for $1 to $3. A feeder san fin. While certified mint state specimens, graded by PCGS or NGC, can be valued at $5 to $20 or more, depending on their color and overall eye appeal. For your coin, given its circulation wear and scratches, a fair estimate of its value in today's market is around 5 to 10 cents. Although its market price is modest, this coin's historical and sentimental value is far greater. The year 1956 was a time of prosperity and change in the United States, a period when families were buying homes, cars, and televisions in record numbers. Pennies like yours were a daily part of life, used for everything from payphones and bus rides to candy and soda. Every worn mark on your coin tells the story of a different era, when 1 cent could still buy something meaningful. The scratches and darkened surface you describe are signs of honest circulation, not flaws to be erased. It's best not to clean your coin, as cleaning removes the original patina that gives it character and can even reduce its collector appeal. Instead, handle it gently by its edges to avoid leaving fingerprints, and store it in a soft plastic coin flip or holder to protect it from further wear or oxidation. Over time, keeping it in a dry, stable environment will help preserve its condition. The 1956 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark may not be a rare or high-value coin, but it represents the closing chapter of a classic American design, one that carried the image of a great president and symbolized the nation's ideals of unity and hard work. It's a simple copper coin with deep historical roots, linking you to generations of Americans who used it in everyday life. Even with its scratches and wear, your coin is a living piece of history, a survivor from the 1950s that continues to tell its story nearly 70 years later. Next up, the 1980 USA Washington quarter dollar with the D mint mark is a classic example of modern American coinage, struck at the Denver Mint. Though it is often called a silver quarter due to its bright, silvery appearance, this coin is not made of silver. All regular Washington quarters minted for circulation after 1964 are made of a copper nickel-clad composition, a pure copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. This alloy gives the coin its silvery color, while being much more affordable for mass production than real silver. Your coin is described as being in very fine condition, with some scratches. In coin grading terms, very fine means that the coin has moderate wear, but still shows most of its design details clearly. The portrait of Washington will display visible hairlines, though the highest points are slightly worn. On the reverse, most of the eagle's feathers and details in the arrows and olive branches will still be sharp, even if slightly smoothed. The presence of scratches indicates normal contact with other coins during circulation, a common feature for coins that have been in hiding to everyday use for decades. The 1980 D Washington quarter had a very large mintage of approximately 518 million coins, making it one of the most common quarters of its era. Because of this high production, most circulated examples like yours are valued primarily for their face value. In today's collector market, a 1980 D quarter in very fine condition with some light scratches is typically worth between $0.25 and $1. This range depends on the overall appearance, cleanliness, and the degree of wear on the coin. However, Certain rare mint errors from 1980 can be worth significantly more. Examples include off-center strikes, double-die obverse errors, or clipped planchets. These mistakes occurred during the minting process and are collected for their uniqueness. Depending on how noticeable and dramatic the error is, such coins can sell from $50 to several $100s. In exceptional cases, such as a double-struck or broad-struck coin, the value can exceed $1,000 at coin auctions. In contrast, a regular 1980 D quarter in mint state, uncirculated condition, meaning it has no signs of wear and still has its original luster, can bring higher prices. Coins graded MS-65 by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can sell for $5 to $10, while extremely high-grade examples such as MS-67 or MS-68 can sell for $200 to $500 or more. One particularly pristine specimen once sold at auction for around $1,000. But such flawless coins are exceptionally rare and usually preserved directly from mint rolls. Since your coin is circulated and shows some wear and scratches, it wouldn't fall into those high-value categories. It remains a nice collectible, particularly if you are assembling a full set of Washington quarters from the 20th century. The D mint mark also gives it slight historical interest, as Denver minted coins from the 1980s are sometimes preferred by collectors who enjoy completing year and mint combinations. As for the scratches and marks on your coin, these are typical signs of long circulation. They slightly reduce aesthetic and collector appeal, but are normal for coins of this age. Some collectors might feel tempted to clean or polish the coin to make it look brighter, but professional numismatists strongly advise against cleaning coins, as this can permanently damage the metal surface and reduce collectible value. If you want to gently improve its appearance for personal display, it's best to only rinse it in mild soapy water and pat it dry with a soft cloth, never scrub, as that can create fine scratches. If you want to explore whether your coin might be a valuable error variety, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to carefully examine the date, lettering, and edges. Look for any doubling, missing parts of design, or misaligned rims. These features can make a big difference in value. In today's auction market, for a standard 1980D Washington quarter in very fine condition with some scratches, you can expect it to sell for about $0.25 to $1, depending on presentation and demand. Dealers usually pay around face value unless the coin has some special characteristic, such as an error or an unusually sharp strike. Next up, the 1937 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a wonderful and historic coin that reflects America's economic recovery period during the late years of the Great Depression. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin was part of a series that has become one of the most recognized and collected in the world, the Lincoln Wheat Cent, which was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the wheat penny was America's first circulating coin to feature a real person rather than a symbolic figure, and it quickly became one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. The 1937 Lincoln wheat penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighs 3.11 grams, and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. It has a plain edge and was originally struck with a beautiful reddish luster that has often darkened to brown or red-brown tones over the decades due to oxidation and circulation. Your coin is described as being in very fine condition with some scratches, which means that most of the main details are still visible and clear. In this grade, Lincoln's hair and beard show moderate wear but retain some texture, and the facial features are still distinct. The lettering and date are bold and easy to read, while the reverse design still displays both wheat stalks with good definition, though some of the finer lines may be worn smooth from handling. The light scratches you mention are normal for circulated coins that have been in use for many years. The year 1937 saw the production of over 309 million wheat pennies from the Philadelphia Mint, making this issue fairly common in circulated grades today. However, collectors still value these coins for their age, copper composition, and historical significance. The 1930s were a difficult yet transformative time in America. The nation was recovering from the Great Depression. Industries were reviving, and coins like your 1937 penny passed through countless hands during this era of rebuilding and change. In today's collector market, the value of a 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark varies depending on condition. In good circulated condition, it may be worth around $0.10 to $0.20s. In very fine condition, like your coin, the value can rise to around $0.25 every these, $0.05 to $0.50. Extremely fine examples may sell for $0.75 to $1, while uncirculated coins with full red luster can command prices from $3 to $10 or more, depending on eye appeal and grading. Coins that have been professionally graded and encapsulated by companies like PCGS or NGC can bring even higher prices if they are in exceptional condition. Given your coin's very fine condition with scratches, a fair market estimate today would be around $0.30 to $0.50. While that may seem like a modest amount, the true worth of your 1937 wheat penny lies in its historical value. This coin has survived nearly 90 years, circulating during an era when every penny had meaning. Back then, a single cent could buy a postcard, a stick of gum, or a newspaper. Each worn mark on your coin tells a story, perhaps of a worker saving change during the Depression, a child collecting coins, or a family shopping in a small-town general store. If you want to keep your coin in the best possible condition, it's important not to clean it. Cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its collector value by removing the original patina that collectors appreciate. Instead, handle it gently by its edges to avoid fingerprints and store it in a protective coin holder or soft flip. Keeping it in a dry, cool place will help preserve its condition and prevent further oxidation. The 1937 Lincoln wheat penny represents more than just a piece of old copper. It's a small, enduring piece of American history. It connects us to a time when coins carried more than monetary value. They carried the pride, hope, and struggles of an entire generation. Even though its market value is low, your coin is a lasting symbol of resilience and craftsmanship, a humble artifact that continues to tell the story of America's strength through hard times. Next up, the 1995 USA Washington quarter dollar with the P Mint mark is a fascinating piece of modern American coinage, struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Although often called a silver quarter because of its silvery appearance, this particular coin is not made of silver. It's actually composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy. Just like all standard quarters minted for circulation after 1964. True 90% silver quarters were last made for general use in 1964, while the 1995 version consists of a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel, giving it that bright silver-like color. Your coin is described as being in good condition with some scratches. That means it has seen some circulation, likely passed through many hands over the past few decades. In coin grading terms, good condition indicates visible wear on the high points of the design. Washington's hair details may be worn smooth, and the eagle's feathers may lack sharpness. The presence of scratches further suggests contact with other coins or rough handling over time, which is very common for quarters that were used regularly. Despite its everyday appearance, the 1995 P quarter has some historical context worth noting. Over 1 billion of these coins were minted in Philadelphia, precisely about 1,436,000 pieces, making it a very common issue. Because of this high mintage, 1995 P quarters are still found in pocket change across the United States today. This abundance means that, For circulated examples like yours, the coin's value in today's market remains close to its face value. In normal good or very good condition, it's typically worth between $0.25 and $0.50. However, there are some cases where 1995 P quarters can be worth more, particularly if they have minting errors or are in exceptionally high-grade uncirculated condition. Mint errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or doubled dies can make these coins much more valuable. For instance, an off-center 1995 P quarter could sell for anywhere between $50 and $200, depending on how dramatic the error is. Similarly, if the coin was struck on a planche meant for another denomination such as a nickel or dime, the value could soar to several $100s at auction. On the other hand, if the coin is in mint state, MS condition, meaning it was never used in circulation, its value rises. Uncirculated 1995 P quarters typically sell for $2 to $5 in average mint state grades. Higher grade coins, especially those graded MS67 or above by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can bring in much more. For example, a top-quality 1995 P quarter-graded MS68 has sold at auction for over $1,000. Though such flawless examples are extremely rare and carefully preserved, because your coin is in good condition with scratches, it wouldn't qualify for those higher collector grades. So its auction value would remain low, usually no more than a few dollars at best. Still, it's a piece of modern American coinage history that represents the final years of the traditional Washington quarter design before the launch of the 50 state quarters program in 1999, which brought massive changes to U.S. coin designs. If you look at the coin closely and notice any unusual doubling of the lettering, date or mint mark, or any strange shapes or edges, it might be worth having it examined by a local coin dealer or collector group. Error coins from the 1990s do appear occasionally, and they always attract interest in the auction market. As for cleaning or improving its appearance, professional collectors usually advise against it. Even though your coin is already scratched and circulated, cleaning can further damage the surface and reduce its collectible value. The natural patina and light dirt that accumulate over time actually tell the story of the coin's circulation history and are often preferred to an artificial shine. Next up, the 1955 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark is a fascinating coin from the final years of the classic wheat cent series. It was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the busiest mints of the mid-20th century, and represents a period when the Lincoln wheat penny remained a cornerstone of American pocket change. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin continues to be a beloved piece of U.S. numismatic history, admired for its elegant design and connection to President Abraham Lincoln. A timeless symbol of freedom, unity, and leadership. The 1955 D Lincoln penny is made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighs about 3.11 grams, and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. It has a plain edge and was originally struck with a bright reddish-golden copper luster. Over time, however, most of these coins, including yours, have developed a brown or dark tone from oxidation, especially when exposed to air, moisture, or dirt. You mentioned that your coin is in dirty condition with some scratches, which is quite common for circulated coins of this age. In this state, the coin shows moderate wear. Lincoln's hair and facial details are slightly smoothed, and the surface might appear dull or dark. The scratches may come from long years of use in circulation or rough storage, and the dirt or toning adds a layer of history that tells of its long journey through time. The Denver Mint produced an enormous number of these coins, approximately 563 million, making the 1955 D Lincoln penny one of the most common wheat cents of the 1950s. However, despite its large mintage, collectors still prize these coins for their age, copper content, and the artistry of Brenner's design. The 1955D issue is sometimes confused with the famous 1955 doubled die penny, but that rare error only occurred on Philadelphia minted coins, which have no mint mark. The Denver version, though more common, remains historically valuable as a piece of a bygone era. In today's collector market, the value of a 1955D Lincoln wheat penny depends largely on its condition and color. For circulated examples in good-to-fine condition, like yours, the coin typically sells for 0.5 to 0.8 Ts. In very fine to extremely fine condition, its value can range from 0.33 private yard to 15 when I to 0.8 can every 22. Uncirculated examples with red luster, coins that were never used in circulation, can sell for $1 to $3 while high-grade mint state coins certified by PCGS or NGC can fetch $10 to $25 or more, depending on their color, red, red-brown, or brown. Based on your description of a dirty coin with scratches, the fair market value today would be around 0.05 to $10. While this may seem like a small monetary value, your coin carries a much greater historical and sentimental worth. The year 1955 was a time of optimism in America. The post-war economy was booming, families were moving into new homes, and consumer culture was rapidly growing. Coins like your 1955D penny were used daily in every corner of the country for newspapers, telephones, candy, and public transportation. Each scratch and mark on your coin tells a story of countless hands that passed it along over the decades, connecting it to the everyday life of the mid-20th century. If you want to preserve your coin, it's best not to clean it. Cleaning removes the natural patina that collectors value and can actually decrease its worth. Instead, gently handle it by the edges and store it in a soft plastic coin flip or holder. Keeping it away from humidity and direct sunlight will prevent further discoloration or corrosion. The 1955D Lincoln wheat penny is more than just a copper coin. It's a tangible piece of history, a symbol of the American spirit that endured through wars, progress, and change. Even though its market value is small, it represents the hard-working people of the 1950s, a time when every cent had meaning. The dirt and scratches on your coin are not flaws, but reminders of its long life and journey through history. Holding it today connects you directly to the past, to an era when Abraham Lincoln's image on a single penny stood as a daily reminder of equality, perseverance, and hope for a brighter future. Next up, the 1984 USA Washington quarter dollar with the P mint mark is a classic piece of modern American coinage, produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Although many people refer to these coins as silver quarters because of their shiny silver-like appearance, it's important to note that the 1984 Washington quarter is not made of silver. Like all circulating quarters minted after 1964, it is composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, featuring a pure copper core and outer layers of nickel that give it a silvery color. The true 90% silver Washington quarters were last struck in 1964 for regular circulation, and after that, the U.S. Mint transitioned fully to the more economical copper-nickel composition. Your coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches. In coin grading terms, fine condition means the major design elements are still visible, but the high points of the design show noticeable wear. On your coin, this means some details in Washington's hair might appear flattened, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse might have lost sharpness. The light scratches and circulation marks suggest it spent many years in active use, possibly exchanged countless times in stores, gas stations, and markets, a coin that has traveled through everyday American life for decades. The 1984 P Washington quarter had a large mintage of over 676 million coins, making it a very common issue. Because of this high production number, Most 1984 P quarters found in circulation today have only face value, meaning they are worth 0.25 in normal, worn condition. Even in fine condition with some scratches, the coin generally trades between 0.25 and 0.75 in today's collector market. However, as with most coins, there are exceptions that can increase the value dramatically. Certain mint errors or unusual varieties from 1984 are sought after by collectors. Examples include off-center strikes, double-die errors, especially on the obverse lettering or date, and clipped planchets. These minting mistakes can significantly increase the coin's worth depending on rarity and visual appeal. A 1984 P quarter with a noticeable off-center strike, for example, could sell for $50 to $150, and a more dramatic or well-defined error could go for even more at specialized auctions. For standard non-error coins, condition is what truly determines value. Uncirculated examples, coins that were never used in commerce, are known as mint state MS coins. A 1984 P quarter in MS-60 condition might sell for around $2, while a brilliant, sharply struck example in MS-65 can fetch $5 to $10. In exceptional grades, such as MS-67 or higher, values rise steeply because so few coins have survived in such pristine state. A certified 1984 P quarter graded MS-67 by PCGS or NGC has sold for over $400, though such pieces are extremely rare and represent the finest condition possible. Since your coin is in fine condition and has scratches, it falls into the lower collector range, worth around face value or slightly above. It's not valuable enough to justify professional grading, as grading fees would exceed the coin's market worth. Still, it remains a nice collectible piece, especially for those assembling a full year and mint mark set of Washington quarters. One thing to note is the appearance of scratches. These might be the result of contact with other coins or rough handling over the years. While some collectors might be tempted to clean such coins to make them shinier, professional numismatists advise against cleaning, as it can damage the surface and reduce collectible value. Cleaning can remove the natural patina and leave visible hairlines, making the coin appear unnaturally polished. It's best to keep the coin as is, allowing its natural tone and wear to reflect its age and history. If you want to check whether your coin might have an error or variety, examine it carefully under good lighting or use a magnifying glass. Look for any doubling on the date or lettering, missing details, or irregular edges. Even small mint errors can add a few dollars in value. In the auction market today, a typical 1984 P quarter in fine condition with light scratches would usually sell for around $0.25 to $1, depending on overall appearance. Uncirculated or proof versions, which were specially struck for collectors, can sell for higher amounts, sometimes reaching $5 to $10 or more. A proof 1984 S San Francisco mint version made of copper nickel clad can be worth around $5 to $7, while silver proofs from special sets, though not from the P mint, can command even higher values. Next up, the 1940 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a beautiful and historically meaningful coin that reflects America's strength and resilience on the eve of World War II. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin continues the long legacy of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, one of the most iconic and beloved designs in U.S. coinage. Created by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln Cent first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Its design and symbolism have made it one of the most collected coins in the world. The 1940 Lincoln wheat penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighs 3.11 grams, and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. It has a plain edge, and when newly struck, it shone with a beautiful red-orange luster that gradually darkened to shades of brown and red-brown over time. Your coin is described as being in very fine condition with some scratches, which suggests it circulated for a number of years, but still retains most of its major details. In this grade, Lincoln's facial features, hair, and coat lines are still visible with moderate wear, and the inscriptions remain clear and bold. On the reverse, both wheat stalks are well defined, though some of the finer lines may be slightly worn. The light scratches you mention are common and usually caused by normal handling and storage over the decades. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 586 million Lincoln wheat pennies in 1940, making this issue fairly common today in circulated grades. However, its age and connection to a significant historical era, just before the United States entered World War II, give it great historical importance. Every 1940 penny is a link to a time when America was emerging from the Great Depression and preparing for the challenges ahead. These coins passed through the hands of everyday Americans who were working hard, saving, and rebuilding their lives after one of the toughest decades in U.S. history. In today's collector market, the value of a 1940 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark depends on its condition and color. In good to fine condition, it's typically worth 0.25 to 0.28. In very fine condition, like your coin, the value can rise to around 0.15 to $0.30. Extremely fine examples are valued around 0.50 to 0.75, while uncirculated red specimens can sell for $2 to $5, or even higher, depending on their color and luster. Coins certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC and graded as high-quality mint state can fetch $10 to $20 or more. Given your coin's very fine condition with scratches, its fair market value in today's market is approximately $0.20 to $0.30. Although the monetary value may seem small, the historical and sentimental worth of this coin is far greater. It has survived for over 8 decades, a silent witness to some of the most important events of the 20th century. Imagine the stories it could tell. Perhaps it was used in a local store during the early 1940s, passed between a young couple saving for a home, or given to a child as pocket money during wartime America. Every mark and scratch adds to its character, showing its long journey through countless hands and generations. To preserve your 1940 wheat penny, avoid cleaning it. Cleaning can damage its surface and remove the natural patina that collectors find desirable. Instead, hold the coin gently by its edges and store it in a soft plastic coin flip or acid-free holder. Keeping it in a cool, dry place away from humidity will prevent further discoloration or corrosion. The 1940 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny stands as a small but powerful piece of American history. It embodies the values of hard work, perseverance, and unity that defined the nation during a time of recovery and change. Even with its scratches and wear, your coin remains a tangible connection to the past, a copper relic from an era when every cent mattered. Though its value in dollars may be modest, its legacy as part of the story of America makes it truly priceless in its own way. Next up, the 1972 USA Washington quarter dollar with the D Mint mark is a well-known piece of American coinage. Minted at the Denver Mint, although many people refer to coins like this as silver quarters because of their shiny, silvery color, the 1972 quarter is not made of silver. All Washington quarters struck for circulation after 1964 are composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy with a pure copper core sandwiched between 2 outer layers of nickel. This combination gives the coin its silvery appearance, but no actual silver content. Only special proof coins made for collectors, such as the 40% silver issues from the San Francisco Mint, contained. Any silver after 1964, your coin is described as being in extra fine condition, with some scratches. In coin grading terms, extra fine means that the coin has seen light circulation but retains much of its original detail. Most of the design elements, such as Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, are still sharp and clear, though there may be light wear on the highest points. The coin still has a bit of its original mint luster, giving it an attractive appearance despite some minor wear. The scratches you mentioned likely come from contact with other coins or surfaces during use, which is common even for coins in extra fine condition. The 1972 D Washington quarter had a high mintage of approximately 301 million coins, making it a very common issue. Because of this large number, most circulated examples like yours hold primarily face value unless they have some special feature or minting error. In extra fine condition with light scratches, the coin's value in today's collector market is generally between $0.25 and $1. A coin with strong eye appeal, minimal marks, and a bright surface may bring slightly more from a collector assembling a complete Washington quarter set. However, some 1972 D quarters are known for mint errors and die varieties, which can make them significantly more valuable. For instance, there are examples with double die obverse or off-center strikes, and even coins struck on the wrong planche, for example, a nickel or dime blank. These rare minting mistakes can increase a coin's worth from $50 to several $100s, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. A dramatic double-struck or broad-struck coin could even reach over $1,000 in auction. For regular non-error coins, condition and luster are key to determining higher value. Uncirculated or mint state, MS examples that have never been used in commerce can sell for much more. A typical uncirculated 1972 D quarter in MS-60 grade might be worth $2 to $4, while higher-grade coins such as MS-65 can fetch $8 to $12 exceptionally. Preserved specimens graded MS-67 or higher by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC can sell for $100 to $400, and the finest examples have been auctioned for over $1,000. Since your coin is in extra fine condition and not uncirculated, it falls just below the level that would attract higher collector interest. It's still a nice quality piece, far better than most heavily circulated quarters, and shows off the artistry and detail of the original Washington design quite well. The scratches you mentioned slightly reduce its appeal, but they are typical for coins that have seen limited circulation. If you're thinking about selling or valuing your coin in the auction market, a realistic range today would be between $4.25 and $1, depending on presentation and buyer interest. Some collectors may pay up to $2 for a particularly clean example, especially one with good luster and minimal surface damage. If you want to inspect your coin for potential errors or varieties, use a magnifying glass to look closely at the date, lettering, and the eagle's wings. Any visible doubling, misalignment, or unusual features might indicate a minting anomaly, and that could increase the value significantly. It's also worth mentioning that you should avoid cleaning your coin. Cleaning can damage the surface and remove its natural tone or patina, reducing its collectible value. Even though the coin has scratches or minor dirt, collectors prefer original surfaces over polished ones. If necessary, you can gently rinse it with mild soap and water, but never scrub or polish it. In summary, your 1972 D Washington quarter dollar is a copper nickel-clad coin, not a silver one, minted in large quantities at the Denver Mint. It is in extra fine condition with some scratches, meaning it has light wear but retains most of its original detail. In today's collector and auction market, its value typically ranges between $0.25 and $1, though special varieties or mint errors can be worth much more. While not rare or high in monetary value, it remains a strong example of mid-20th century American coinage. A durable and historic piece that has circulated for over 50 years, still carrying the enduring image of America's first president, George Washington.